Since the last time I was here, Mr. Walker has been talking about issues that are of great importance to the people of Georgia. Like whether it's better to be a vampire or a werewolf. This is a debate that I must confess I once had myself. When I was 7. Then I grew up.
So former President Barack Obama is campaigning in the final days of the Georgia runoff, trying to get Raphael Warnock elected to a second term. And you got to give it to him. Like, there were a lot of things that he did as president I didn't like, and a lot more that he could have done, and things he could have done since he was last president. But when he's speaking, there is a likable thing about him that few politicians have. Brett, I don't know, is this the sort of thing that appeals to you, or are you above this?
That appeals to me? Yeah, I like watching Barack Obama speak. I really enjoy having a high communication politician. Unfortunately, it reminds me that that sadly there aren't that many of those in the Democratic Party anymore. It is a lot of folks that just did what they were told in a way that didn't alienate anyone in power in the Democratic Party, and then they rose to the top that way frequently because they're good at raising money and not good at advocating for what people actually want. Yeah. And they're not good at inspiring people. And former President Barack Obama is really good at all of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, we've got a little bit more fun from him. Take a look at this.
Since the last time I was here, apparently he also claimed that he used to let me beat him at basketball. But then he admitted that we've never actually met. So I guess this was more of an imaginary whooping that I laid on him.
Yeah, so that's like thrown as like a funny applause line or whatever, but it really does get to that, yeah, Herschel Walker is a guy who just routinely, casually tells insane lies and can't remember the lies he's told, so he undercuts himself. Like, to make a claim that you not only have ever met the president, but you apparently semi-routinely hang out with him casually and socially, that you play sports together, and then to say, I obviously beat the president, I let him beat me, but I easily could have been. Like, that is spinning so much needless dishonesty to then unravel it just by admitting at some point that, yeah, no, I never actually met him. So add that to the list of the many lies he's told, and this is by far not one of the most dangerous. This isn't about, like trying to kill a person or anything, but it's just such a weird thing to throw out there.
Historically speaking, if all other things being equal, there's no way that this should be close. And I'm not talking about Warnock winning. I'm talking about the Republican Senate candidate should whoop the Democratic Senate candidate in Georgia.
Yeah.
But because Donald Trump, needs to choose the successor himself, B, thinks that person just needs to be a celebrity, but very importantly, C, will never choose anyone even remotely as gifted at communication as himself. They have chosen what seems to be the dumbest, worst, least functioning, most hypocritical candidate ever in the history of this iteration of the Republican Party. This is a guy who says he's anti-abortion, seems to conveniently forget that he has bought a bunch of them. And in addition to making up these fake games of basketball with President Obama, like that's creepy weird. And not to mention has admitted, and according to the IRS, according to things I've read, he does not live in the state he seeks to represent. And that's not like one of those normal attacks. It's like, oh, you spend all your time in DC nowadays. Like, no, he actually lives in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, he was campaigning initially from his home in Texas. He wasn't even doing a good job. Like, Dr. Oz he tried to do the thing that you normally do, which is like kind of like move there, I guess, right before whatever. But like, pretend that you're there. He didn't even do that. And by the way, I want to contrast what you're seeing from Obama, where he's there and he's campaigning, he's raising money, he's trying to get people excited to vote. Another former president is instead going to be holding a tele-rally for Herschel Walker, but won't campaign in person because he has been asked not to by the Walker campaign. And that is the most lucid, like thinking of the Walker campaign so far. They don't get much, but they get that having Donald Trump on the ground wouldn't be good for them. We've already broken down earlier this week why I think the interesting part is not that they asked Trump not to go. The interesting part is trying to figure out exactly why he's not going anyway. And I don't think it says much good about Walker's chances. But we do know as we launch towards the final days, almost $80 million was spent on TV ads, not in the Senate race, in the 4-week Senate runoff. Get money out of politics, that is insane. And by the way, as of the final polling that we're likely to get, 52% of likely voters say they plan to support Raphael Warnock. 48% are picking Walker. That's because about 99% of Democrats are supporting Warnock. 95% of Republicans are backing Walker. And yes, independents are breaking towards the Democrats, 61-36, but they're not a very large part of the electorate, just 17%. And that's in fact down from the exit polls from the first race. I mean, it's a 4-point race and only 1 in 20 Republicans is not gonna back Walker, despite fill in a scandal, heaps and mounds of things that individually would make this person unacceptable. It has convinced virtually no Republicans to choose the Democrat instead. Any final thoughts, Brett?
Nope. Any more thinking about this story and I will literally start crying.
Probably. You know what? In fact, before we go to our break, let's play this last video and leave people a little bit fired up.
If you put everything you've got into the next few days, if you vote, if you get your friends to vote and your neighbors to vote, if you do all that, not only will we reelect Raphael Warnock, not only will we keep Georgia and America on a path to a better future, but we will be setting an example for a 4-year-old right here and laying a foundation for him to build on. And that 1-year-old over there, and I know I saw a 3-month-old here, they're watching right now to see if we're gonna get tired, and I'm gonna tell them right now, we're not gonna be tired. We're gonna bring it on home. Let's make this happen, Georgia. I love you. God bless you.
God help us if they choose Herschel Walker.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.